In this video, we're going to talk about how to run for Congress. Lots of people try and do that. Most come up short. In this video, we're going to talk about what you need to do in order to win a race for Congress. Stick with me because I got a lot to share with you. And we'll start off here by saying this. There is knowledge of the job, there is knowledge of the jurisdiction, there is knowledge of the rules and engagement that you need to know, and then there are some how-to things that you need to put together yourself. Your campaign message, your advertising program, and your fundraising plan. We're going to talk about all of that. Let's start with knowledge of the job. You're running for Congress. That means you want to be one of the 435 most powerful people in the United States. You want the power to legislate over a multi-trillion-dollar budget. You want the power to decide the state of our Social Security system, the state of our Medicare system, what we call entitlements. You're asking for the power to rule over the discretionary spending. You're asking for the power to decide who pays what. You're even asking for the power to decide when we aid a country and engage American troops in a war. People will expect that you know something about the job that you are asking for, and it's incumbent upon you to know the basics of the job that you are seeking before you announce your candidacy. You will need a strong network of supporters in order to do this, because here is a simple truth. Nobody has ever been elected to Congress without the help of other people, and there are two places to go find these people. One is your existing network, people you know who also like you, family, friends, and relatives. How do you find these people who might volunteer or contribute to your campaign? It's not hard, it's at your fingertips. Go take a look at the number of contacts that you have in your mobile phone. The number in there may surprise you, and this is the other thing that you're going to find when you do that. You're going to see the names of people that you forgot you knew who might decide to be helpful to you if you ask them to do so. Two other places to find people you know. Take a look at your friends on Facebook. You'll probably find people you went to college or high school with, people you've worked with in various endeavors or community organizations, people you have volunteered with, people you may have encountered and haven't seen since, but you had a good time and you bonded during that experience. Third place to look, you might want to check your LinkedIn account, because we tend to accumulate a lot of people there, and sometimes you find people there who are capable of giving you a lot of money or who have lots of influence that could be helpful to you. Now, there's a secondary tier of people who care passionately about who sits in a seat in Congress. We call them stakeholders. They are the leaders of your political party in your congressional district. They are elected officials of your political party that are inside your congressional district. Keep in mind, they've already won an election, they know how it's done, they've been successful at it, and they probably have names in their contact list that they could introduce you to that might be helpful to you. There are leaders of special interest groups that care deeply and passionately about who has a seat in Congress, some based in Washington, some based in your local community. Groups that are active in immigration, one way or the other. Groups that serve people who are poor, groups that have some say-so in the taxes that people pay. If you want to know who those special interest groups are, well, talk to those people who already hold the office, because chances are they can introduce you to the people who have some say-so, or look at the campaign contribution reports of candidates who've run for Congress in your district before, and chances are they got some money from these special interest groups because they cared to invest in that candidate. A couple of other places that you really should think about a network. There are certain community and civic leaders. They may not day-to-day be active in politics in your community, but they happen to know a lot of movers and shakers in your community. And finally, in some, there are many foreign languages spoken. If you live in a congressional district in New York City, for example. There are people in your jurisdiction who are not of the same race, they are not of the same ethnicity. There are people who may have a different color of skin or speak in a different tongue than the English language, but they also vote. And it's incumbent upon you, if you're in a district with sizable populations of ethnic groups, that you be in touch with the leaders of those groups if you're running for Congress. I mentioned this about your jurisdiction. There are no two congressional districts in the United States that are exactly the same. Each has a slightly different partisan makeup of the electorate. Each has a set of demographics unique to the people who live in your jurisdiction. You want to know the age breakdown of the voters in your jurisdiction, the income level, the race, the ethnicity, the education level. If you can get a hold on it, that their hobbies, their reading habits, organizations that people in your district may have contributed to. Now, if you have no idea where to find that kind of data, leave a question in the comments section of this video and I will tell you where to find it. I'm going to mention this because I've seen candidates for Congress neglect to ask. It's what we call the rules of engagement. You have to get on the ballot in order to win an election, meaning it's very hard to run as a write-in candidate and win anything in the United States. So each state has its own set of rules about what congressional candidates must do in order to get on the ballot. Some, you pay a hefty fee to do it. In others, you've got to circulate petitions with X number of signatures, and they're very particular about who collects those signatures. You need to know how to file a campaign committee, because if you're running for Congress, you are governed by rules of the Federal Election Commission. You have to file your paperwork. You have to file your statement of candidacy. At some point, you are going to have to disclose your assets and your liabilities, and they don't like it if you're late on that deadline. You also have to file timely reports. There are limits on the amount of money you can accept from people, the kinds of organizations that can give you money, and they will expect you to know the rules. If you don't know them, find somebody who does, or go to the FEC website and they will tell you exactly what you can and cannot do and how to do everything that you need to do to file a committee. Every candidate for Congress needs a coherent and compelling message. Why do you want the job? What are you going to do with the job if you get it? How do voters know they can trust you to make the right decisions? What qualifies you to do that job? How do voters know what your moral code is and your set of values? And how do they know that yours are in sync with theirs? What makes you better than your opponent? Those are the elements of a campaign message. And it's best easily organized. And I'm just going to rattle off the questions that voters will expect you to tell them during the course of your campaign. What makes you qualified for the job? How do I know your values are in sync with mine? What are you going to do for me? What problems are you going to fix? What policies are you going to advance that will improve my quality of life? What story can you tell me to let me know I can trust you when I'm not looking? What makes you better than your opponent? Answer those questions for voters and you will have your campaign message. Most congressional candidates have to spend money on campaign advertising. In fact, I don't know any that never have to do that. So here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about your advertising budget because you will need one in a congressional race. Sure, you can use social media to disseminate your message, but at some point you're going to have to, they're not all going to wake up in the morning and go look at you and your latest campaign news. You gotta tell them you're there. So that's what advertising is about. Digital advertising is a great means of doing this in a congressional race. You can advertise on YouTube and Facebook, and if you got the money to do it, I would suggest you use it because it's cheap and very efficient. There are sometimes in a congressional campaign where radio is useful. Nearly all congressional candidates use something we call persuasion mail to communicate with a broad universe of voters in certain niche markets. And then there is TV. There are today 4 different kinds of TV. OTT, what we call over the top, CTV, which is what we call connected TV. Of course, there's cable television, and in some jurisdictions, even commercial television makes sense. You will never have all the money that you would like to have enough money to cover the essentials of an advertising budget so that people have some idea of why you want the job and what you're going to do with it. I'll mention one other thing here. It's fundraising. Money's not a dirty word. It's really, really hard to get elected to Congress with no money. That's why some candidates fail. They think there's something dirty about it. There's not. Money makes the world go around. There are many, many ways to raise it, and I'll just touch on a few. One is get comfortable asking for money from your family, friends, and relatives, and close friends, and people you meet. It is okay to have surrogates, your own friends, or people from your own stout network calling people that they know to raise money on your behalf. We call that surrogate fundraising. You can send letters to people asking them to contribute to your campaign. We call that direct mail fundraising. You can raise money using text messages. You can raise money advertising on Facebook. Hey, donate to my campaign and help me advance this cause. And then there are cocktail parties and dinner parties and celebrity events. 7 different ways to raise money. All of them are useful to you. All of them can be done in a congressional campaign, and in a very competitive congressional campaign, candidates do them all. We've talked about the advertising. We've talked about how you raise money. I got to say a word about a budget. It is not glamorous work, but every high-end congressional campaign I have ever been involved with, I insist that we have a campaign budget. If you do not have one, you do not have a strategy. If you do not have one, you will run out of money, usually at the most inconvenient time when somebody is saying, if you don't pay for your ads today, the ads are not going to go up. Do not try and do this without a budget. It is a necessary evil to have one. Each week, I set aside a little bit of time to talk to people who are looking for help in their political campaign. I invite you to call me if you're running for Congress and looking for a little help, or you can go to the link in the description of this video, click on it, send me your name and phone number, and I'll be in touch to schedule a call.